Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a truly wild story. It's a story of cosmic engineering, sure, but also one of incredible spiritual mastery. It all centers around a single mission: to awaken an entire civilization that's been lost to time, held captive by nothing less than a frozen equation in space-time.
Okay, so let's just let that sink in for a second. The stakes here could not be higher. For this group, known as the Bodhisattvas, failure wasn't just a setback. It meant the stasis field shatters, and the ancestors they were trying to save would turn to dust in an instant. Literally millions of years of decay happening all at once. No pressure, right?
So picture this. They're standing before this massive obsidian spire, and it's just humming with this impossible energy. Now, this wasn't some machine you could tinker with, no buttons, no levers. It was a physical paradox, a lock woven from the very fabric of the universe itself. And inside, the key to a past that had been sleeping for eons.
So how in the world do you even begin to tackle something like that? I mean, you can't just be clever or have the right tool. To open this thing, they had to prove their absolute, total mastery over reality itself. And they had to do it by solving two completely distinct cosmic challenges. One dealing with the sheer vastness of space, and the other with the very flow of time.
This spire, it turns out, was a dual lock system, what you could call the final paradox. So let's talk about the first part, the macro lock. This was a challenge powered by one of the most mysterious forces we know of, the expansion of the cosmos itself.
And what's so fascinating here is that their first hurdle wasn't a mechanism. It was a concept they had to tame. It was called the designer. And it wasn't a puzzle box. It was the universe's own expansionary force, but concentrated, like a localized, weaponized form of dark energy that was threatening to tear the spire apart from the inside out.
And this, right here, shows you why their approach was so brilliant. Instead of trying to fight this massive force head-on, they saw it through this lens of interdependence. Their entire philosophy taught them that if a force like expansion exists, it can't exist alone. It has to have an opposite, a dependent counterforce. And if they could find that, well, they could leverage it.
So they didn't just guess. They did the math. Using their deep understanding of physics, they calculated the exact counter frequency they would need to basically flip a fundamental switch on the universe, to turn that repulsive, expanding force of vacuum energy into an attractive, stabilizing one.
And here's how they actually pulled it off. It's this incredible combination of intense, unified focus and resonant sound. They formed a circle and collectively visualized a gravitational sink, the perfect mirror opposite to the spire's chaotic energy source. Their chanting then created this destructive interference pattern, not in sound waves, but in the very fabric of the vacuum itself.
And just like that, click, the violent, outward-pushing energy just settled. It cooled, it slowed, and it resolved into this harmonious, contained geometry. The first part of the lock fell silent. One paradox down, one more to go.
But solving one cosmic puzzle just revealed an even more mind-bending one. With that expansionary force finally contained, the spire itself started to flicker. It began phasing in and out of our reality.
And this created a whole new and maybe even bigger problem. You can't unlock something that isn't fully there. The spire was now like a ghost, its very existence smeared across the timeline, past, present, and future, all at once. To solve this, they had to do something that sounds impossible. They needed to stop time.
And once again, they approached the problem with this totally radical shift in perspective. Trying to chase an object through time is just a fool's errand. So they didn't. Instead, they leaned on a core belief of theirs, this idea that linear time is really just an illusion, and that the only true reality is the eternal now. Their goal wasn't to chase the spire, but to pull all of its scattered pieces from the past and future and anchor it solidly in the present.
Their anchor for this was a fundamental law of our universe: entropy. The slow march towards disorder. The arrow of time only moves forward because things tend to fall apart. So, they reasoned, if they could just create a perfect bubble of order, a place where nothing could decay, they could create a little island where time itself would simply stop.
To do this, they entered this incredibly profound meditative state, a state where their own subjective experience of time just stopped completely. They became living, breathing anchors of the present moment, and by physically touching the phasing spire while in this state, they acted like thermodynamic heat sinks, just absorbing all of that temporal chaos and pulling the spire into their own static frame of reference.
And it worked. The phasing stopped. The shimmering, ghostly image of the spire snapped into sharp focus. It became perfectly solid, perfectly real, and perfectly locked into the here and now. The final lock was open.
So, with both of those cosmic locks finally disengaged, the geometric equations that were etched on the spire just vanished. The true purpose of the spire and the incredible reward for their feat was about to be revealed.
You can just imagine it. A deep hum started to echo as this machine, the size of a continent, powered up. The stasis field that had protected the civilization for so long dissolved like mist. The ground itself peeled back, opening like an iris to reveal this vast, glowing cavern filled with millions of stasis pods, all of them beginning to open in perfect unison, as a single telepathic greeting just washed over them all.
And this right here is the real heart of the story. This was never just a technical problem to be solved. It was the ultimate test of their entire philosophy. It was a final exam on the nature of reality itself. And they proved that true mastery doesn't come from forcing your will on the universe, but from understanding it so deeply that you can work in perfect harmony with its most fundamental laws.
By succeeding, they passed the ultimate test. But of course, their success has brought them an even greater challenge. They are no longer just survivors or clever problem solvers. They are now the custodians for the very ancestors they worked so tirelessly to save. And that is a responsibility far, far greater than any lock.